On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family home burned to the ground. 5 of their children were trapped inside. The police ruled it a tragic accident. But here's the part that has baffled investigators for over 75 years. Not a single bone, tooth, or body was ever found in the ashes. Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder were living the American dream. An Italian immigrant, George had built a successful business and a large, happy family with 10 children. On Christmas Eve, the older kids begged to stay up late to play with their new toys. Their mother, Jenny, agreed and went to bed. It was a perfectly normal, happy holiday night. It would be the last one their family would ever have. Around 1 a.m., Jenny woke up to the smell of smoke. The house was on fire. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children managed to escape, but upstairs, 5 children were still trapped in the attic. And this is where the story gets strange. George rushed to grab his large ladder to rescue them, but it was missing from its usual spot. He then tried to drive his 2 work trucks to the window to climb on top of them, but inexplicably, neither truck would start despite working perfectly the day before. The family could only watch in horror as their home was consumed by flames. The fire department, arriving hours later, could do nothing. The house was a pile of ash. The next morning, the official ruling was made: a tragic accident caused by faulty wiring, and the 5 children had perished in the blaze. Case closed. But George and Jenny Sodder refused to believe it. And here's the chilling detail that fueled their disbelief. After sifting through every inch of the debris, investigators found absolutely no human remains. A local crematorium employee told them a house fire, even a hot one, isn't capable of completely destroying human bones. The children couldn't have just vanished. The Sodders began to uncover a series of bizarre clues that pointed not to an accident, but to a sinister plot. A telephone repairman discovered the Sodders' phone line had been cut, not burned. A witness saw a man stealing a block and tackle from their property weeks before the fire, the kind used to move a heavy ladder. And then there was the threat. A life insurance salesman had warned George that his house would go up in smoke and his children would be destroyed because of his outspoken criticism of Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. Suddenly, this wasn't just a fire. It looked like a professionally planned kidnapping. Convinced their children were still alive, the Sodders never rebuilt their home. Instead, they turned the site into a memorial garden, and in 1952, erected a large, haunting billboard along a major highway. It showed the faces of their 5 missing children, offering a $10,000 reward for information. The billboard stood for over 35 years, a monument to a family's undying hope. And then came the final, baffling clue. In 1967, 22 years after the fire, the family received a letter. Inside was a photograph of a young man in his late 20s. On the back was a cryptic note. The man in the photo bore a striking resemblance to their son, Louis, who was 9 on the night of the fire. George and Jenny Sodder went to their graves without ever knowing what happened to their children. The case remains open to this day. Were they victims of a targeted abduction by the mafia? Did they somehow survive the fire and start new lives, too afraid to come home? Or did they perish in a fire that was so impossibly hot that it erased every trace of their existence? The billboard is gone now, but the mystery remains. 5 children who walked into Christmas Eve and simply vanished, leaving behind nothing but questions and a story that continues to haunt America. Thank you for joining us on NeuroNexus Earth.